I'm Tom Gager. I'm founder of Real Musician Pro. We've been in business for years. We work in both video and audio, and we work with clients from Pulitzer Prize authors to large talent booking agencies like William Morris, to best-selling authors, to those just starting out. And we give each project the attention that it deserves. We like to think that being a Grammy-considered company, that both our pricing and quality are hard to compete with. Being in business for as long as we have, we've worked in all kinds of places and conditions, from studios to on-location recording, like the Vehicle Assembly Building at NASA's Space Kennedy Center, the largest one-story building in the world. If you can imagine trying to video and record audio with our 125-plus ventilator system going on, it's challenging, and it was. We've also recorded in caves. We've done documentaries that featured sound recordings and the capture of sound for Impulse Record. So take a look around and give us a call or email, and we'll be glad to answer any additional questions you might have. Thanks for watching.
Ryan! Wow, that's so cool! Can you talk? Hi there, little guy. Nicole, look over here. Wow!
Real Musician Pro.
Hi, and welcome to Real Musician Pro. This is our second video in our series on recording audiobooks and how to successfully record your next book, getting it done sounding like the pros, and yet keeping your costs in line. You know, if you've done any research at all online, you've already found out that prices to record, costs, they're all over the place. And with so many choices for voice talent and studios, what company or individual do I go with, or to avoid for that matter? And how do I obtain a great sounding audiobook? In our last video lesson, we discussed some of the basics to audiobook recording on what to look for when hiring a company or individual to record your audiobook, and whether you as the author should record your book. We presented the potential negatives as well as some possible benefits. We also took an example of a 52,000-word book and dissected the cost of producing the audiobook, what an hour of finished audio means, and how many words that create an hour of finished audio, along with the average costs on recording audiobooks, hourly rates, and what Real Musician Pro generally charges. Click on the link that appears in the video if you want to go to the previous lesson directly. Otherwise, let's start our next lesson. In this lesson, we'll focus on common production mistakes with audio gates and loudness maximizing software when recording your book. It would seem that in the digital age, many of the problems of the past would be done away with, minimized, or automatically detected and fixed by software. Unfortunately, that's simply not the case. And to compound the issue, many software users, experienced and newbies alike, have the attitude or inexperience that says, if I have the ability to do this or that with the audio, then I should do it, whether it actually needs it or helps. Whether it helps in such a way where it is detrimental to the production and audio quality? Now that's the question. For instance, louder music and audio sounds better. At least, that's what people think, and so many in the industry maximize the loudness of the audio to make it sound louder. But do you know what generally happens when software is used to make things sound louder? Especially in a recording setting where you hear the sound of lighting, computer hard drives, subtle or not so subtle HVAC noise in the background. It brings up the whole audio signal, noise floor and all, because the software is compressing the audio to such a degree to make it sound louder, and now it also needs a limiter, so the audio doesn't clip or sound over-recorded. Now, a voiceover recorded for your book that would have been passable for most people is now much louder along with the noise floor, and now it's not so passable. It sounds louder and much harsher to the ears, I might add, most of the time, and the noise floor is much louder. To compensate for this, what users do, because the noise floor of the mic, equipment, lighting, HVAC, etc. is much higher in the audio now to make it sound louder, is they gate it. Obviously, one of the best ways to minimize the noise floor is to do just that. Minimize any possible noise sources and try to isolate your voice recording as much as possible. That's one of the biggest factors for those who try to record on their own, is getting a good quiet recording environment. On a side note, there's nothing inherently wrong with using software like loudness maximizers in a subtle way, but that only works well if the initial audio is fairly quiet, which tends to be a problem with those trying to record on their own. They don't do it every day and haven't invested a lot of time and money. Understand, though, that every piece of equipment has a certain level of what they call self-noise. Even the best of mics, preamps, etc. have noise or pass it off or contribute to the audio signal when recording. Hopefully, a good engineer has minimized it along with the HVAC and lighting. Self-noise is just inherent in the electrical properties of audio recording gear. Electricity passes through the circuits and tubes and creates some noise, with most of today's equipment being much quieter than years gone by. That really does help. Still, we've raised the whole audio level, including the noise floor, to make it sound louder and now need to gate the signal. What's a gate do? It's just like it sounds. It opens and closes with the audio, and they are very useful, and we use them all the time on audio that is reasonably quiet. A gate opens when the signal reaches a predetermined level and then shuts closed as the sound tapers off. Now the listener doesn't hear anything until the voiceover or the singer starts back in and the gate opens up, meaning that any low-level noise can be dealt with in a way where the listener doesn't hear the noise at all, because the gate closes between words or phrases in the audio and the noise level is low to begin with. How quickly the gate opens and closes and what level it opens at can all be adjusted. What can't be adjusted when making the audio sound loud is the fact that there is a lot of noise in the actual file. The same noise floor was there before, but now it has been boosted with the whole signal to make it sound louder, and while we can gate in between phrases and words of the voice talent, you now hear the noise within the voiceover itself, and it all gates in and out. It's distracting. The audio most likely sounds harsh, and the noise being up that high is irritating to listen to. You actually hear the hum or the hiss with the voiceover going in and out with the help of the gate. It's true that the digital age and digital recording sure have made things easier and more accessible to the average person. But sounding better than analog or tape and the old ways of recording is not necessarily the case. Why is that? Well, most users have gone out and purchased affordable gear. The average person, if they save a few dollars, can get a pretty inexpensive recording system that does a pretty good job. The problem isn't the gear. They haven't gone to school to learn the basics of recording, and much of the basics haven't changed with digital. It's just made it much easier to edit files and easier to enter the recording field with lower prices for mics, recording software, etc. We're all for everyone being able to obtain affordable recording gear. It's just the mass of poorly recorded and engineered song demos, and in this case audiobooks, that has entered the playing field needlessly. How do you avoid that? Well, you do need to learn the basics of recording, or go to a company or hire voice talent that can get the job done right. At Real Musician Pro, we're all about getting the sound and audio right. If you haven't, you should listen to some of our audiobook and video trailers and listen to the high quality, and then listen to the average recording out there. There's a big difference. Your book can sound this good, and it should. There's no reason it can't. This has been the second video in the series of recording audiobooks presented by Real Musician Pro. For further information on recording your next audiobook, feel free to call us at 615-300-5030 or of course email, and we'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching.